Hi everyone. Here for grade 7 math. So you can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 7 and then click on view all lessons. So there you can find the chapter number theory and the lessons we're going to cover from the chapter are greatest common factor, least common multiple, GCF and LCM word problems, and scientific notation. So let's just start with the very first lesson, that is greatest common factor. So what do you know about greatest common factor, or either you can say GCF? Just look at the name, greatest common factor, right? That means that would be the greatest common factors of all. You can note down the definition. I'm going to write the definition. Make sure you have your notebook and pen so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well, right? Okay, write down the definition of GCF on the board. Greatest common factor, right? The greatest number that is a factor. Number that is a factor of all your chosen numbers. Now here another word, very important word here is factors, right? So what are the factors? What do you know about the factors? Factor is one of two or more number. You can note down the definition of the factor as well, right? That can divide. Okay, here is the definition of the factor. So please just do not confuse between the factor and multiples, right? A factor is, we'll discuss multiple later. A factor is one of two. A factor is one of two or more numbers that divides a given number without a remainder, right? That is the definition of factor, right? So for example, let's just discuss some of the examples related to factors first, right? Me make sure you be clear with the factors. What is factor, right? Okay, for example, you have a number 8, right? And you have to see if 2 is a factor, just divide 8 by 2. 2 times, what number is 8? 2 times 4 is 8, right? That means 2 is a factor of 8 because 8 is completely divisible by 2. So 2 is a factor of 8, right? Okay, the next one is, for example, you have another number 9, right? 9 divided by 2. When you divide 9 by 2, 2 times 4 is 8, right? 9 minus 8 is 1. You have a remainder 1. 9 is not completely divisible by 2, right? That means 2 is not a factor of 9, right? So factor means if a number completely divide the given number, that means that is a factor, right? So we're talking about GCF, greatest common factor. So the greatest number that is a factor of all your chosen numbers. Let's just do an example for GCF, right? Okay, let me just write down some of the numbers. We'll calculate the GCF of the given numbers, right? Okay, so for example, we have to calculate the GCF of 24 and 36, right? We have to calculate. Fine. The question is find GCF of 24 and 36. You have to calculate the GCF of 24 and 36, right? So how do we calculate GCF? Whenever we have to calculate the GCF of the number, we have to start writing the factors of the number, right? Let's just write down the factors of 24 and 36, right? Factors of 24. We have to write all the numbers that can completely divide 24 and 36, right? Okay. So the factors of 24 are 1 times 24 is 24, right? 2 and 12, because 2 times 12 makes 24. So 24 is divisible by 2 and 12, right? Then you have 3 and 8. 3 and 8 are the factors of 24, right? They all are these are the all factors of 24, right? Now let's just write down the factors of 36. Okay, so the factors of 36 are 1 times 36 is 36, right? 2, when you divide 36 by 2, 2 times 18 is 36. So 2 and 18 both are the factors of 36, right? Then you have 3, 3 and 12 are the factors of 26. When you divide 36 by 2, you will get the number 12. They both are the factors of 36, right? And 6 times 6 is 36. These are all the factors of 24 and 36, right? Always write them in the pair form. This way, you do not forget to write some of the factors, right? You have to find the greatest common factor. So look for the common numbers, right? You can see 1 is common, 2 is common for both, 3 is common for both, 12 is common for both, right? You have 4 common factors. You have to look for the greatest common factor. So which is the greatest number? The GCF of 24 and 36 is 12. If you divide both the numbers by 12, both the numbers are completely divisible by 12. That is the greatest common factor, right? Let's just do more examples from greatest common factor, right? Okay, the next example is GCF of 40 and 32. Find GCF of find GCF of 40 and sorry, not 42, 40 and 32, right? So let's just start with writing the factors of 40 and 32, right? Factors of 40. 1 times 40 is 40, right? Then 2 times 20 is 40. Then you have 4 times 10 is 40 and 8 times 5 is 40. These are all the factors of 40. Same way, let's just write down the factors of 32. Okay, 1 time 32 is 32. Sorry. 2 times 16 is 32. 4 times 8 is 32. Right? These are all the factors of 32. Now just look at the common factors. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4, and then we have 8. So the greatest common, you have 4 common factors. You have to look for the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor is 8, right? The greatest common factor of 32 and 40 is 8. So this way you can find the factors of greatest common factor of the numbers, right? Let's just go to A plus, find examples and do some of the practice questions. So here is greatest common factor. Okay, let's start with the test questions. Okay, what is the greatest common factor of 4 and 16? Okay, now here you have given options. That is very easy. If you are given options, you have to, if you are given with the options, that is very easy to find the correct option, right? How do we know? You are given two of the options, 4 and 16. The greatest common factor is the one that can divide both the numbers, that can complete numbers, right? Completely with no remainder. So you have two numbers, 4 and 16, right? Just see, look, start with 4. 4 divided by 4. And when you divide 16 by 4, 16 by 4 is 4. That means 4 is the number that can completely divide both numbers. Just look at the other one. You have 16. 16 is divisible by 16, but you cannot divide 4 by 16, right? This number, like 4, must be divisible by 16, but you cannot. So the correct option is 4. 4 is the correct option, right? That is a trick. If you are given with the options, you can do like this, right? Find the number from the options, the number that completely divides the number given in the question, right? So the correct option is 4. Okay, let's just do the next one. The greatest common factor of 16 and 8 on the board, right? Hold on. Okay, you have to find the greatest common factor of 16 and 8. Okay, let's just write down the factors and find, right? Greatest common factor of 16 and 8. So start writing the factors of 16 and then the factors of 8. Okay, 1 times 16 is 16. 2 times 8 is 16. And 4 times 4 is 16, right? These are all the factors of 16. Then just write down the factors of 8. 1 times 8 is 8. And 2 times 4 is 8, right? Just look at the common factors. 1 is common, 2 is common, 4 is common, and 8 is common. You have 4 common multiples of 8 and 16, but the greatest one is 8. So the greatest common factor is 8, right? So the correct option is 8. What is the greatest common factor of 9 and 16? Okay, you have to write the greatest. You are given two of the options, right? You can select the answer from the options also. The correct option is the one that can completely divide both numbers, right? 1 can divide both numbers. The other option is 16. 16 can divide 16 but not 9. That means the correct option is 1. 9 and 16 do not have any common factor other than 1. Let me just write them down, their factors, and then explain on the board. GCF of 9 and 16. Okay, let's just write down the factors of 9. They are 1 times 9 is 9 and 3 times 3 is 9, right? Then let's just write down the factors of 16. So the factors of 16 are, okay, the factors of 16 are 1 times 16 is 16, 2 times 8 is 16, and 4. Now here we have all the factors of 9 and 16 on the board, right? Just look at the common factor. You have only one common factor, that is 1, right? That means the GCF of 9 and 16 is 1. They do not have any other common factor other than 1, right? So the correct option is 1. What is the GCF of 6 and 14? Okay, you have to find the GCF of 6 and 14. GCF of 6 and 14. Okay, let's just write down the factors of 6. They are 1 times 6 is 6 and 2 times 3 is 6. These are all the factors of 6, right? These are all factors of 6. Let's just write down the factors of 14. So they are 1 times 14 is 14 and 2 times 7 is 14. Now just look at the common factors. How many common factors we have? Very good. We have 2 factors of 6 and 14, right? They are 1 and 2. You have to look for the greatest common factor. So which is the greatest factor? Yes, very good. That is 2. 2 is the greatest common factor of 6 and 14, right? So the correct option is 2. Okay, the next one is, what is the greatest common of 4 and 20? So which is the correct option? The correct option is, yes, very good. It is 4. How do we know? The correct option is the one that can divide both the numbers, right? So 4 is the number that can divide 4 and 20 also, right? 20 can divide 20, but 20 cannot divide 40. 4, sorry, 20 cannot divide 4. So the correct option is 4. Okay, the next one is, what is the greatest common factor of 8 and 2? Which is the correct option? The greatest common factor is the one that can divide both the numbers completely, right? You are given two of the options. So when you are given with the options, that is very easy. Just check with the options. If the correct option is the one that can divide both the given numbers, right? So the first option is 2. Sorry, 8. The first option is 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 8 completely divides 8, but 8 cannot divide 2, right? 2 is smaller than 8. So the other option is 2. Let's just check. 2 times 4 is 8. That means 8 is completely divisible by 2. And 2 times 1 is 2. So the correct option is, very good, it is 2. Okay, what is the greatest common factor of 11 and 19? So which is the correct option? The correct option is 1. How do you know? Just look at both the numbers. 11. 11 is a prime number, right? And 19 is also a prime number. So prime numbers have only two factors, 1 and the number itself, right? So that means their greatest common, they do not share any common factor other than 1. So the correct option is, very good, that is 1. What is the greatest common factor of 10 and 18? So you have to find the greatest common factor of 10 and 18, right? You are given two of the options, 2 and 10. So which is the correct option? The correct option is 2. Very good. How do we know? 2 is the number that divides 10 and divide 18, right? So the correct option is 2. 10 and 18 both are divisible by, completely divisible by 2. So the correct option is 2, right? Okay, what is the greatest common factor of 9 and 15? Which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? The correct option is 3. 3 is the correct option, right? Because 3 is the number that can divide both the numbers 9 and 15. Okay, you can complete the test by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. So the next lesson is least common multiple, right? LCM it is. So let's just see what is LCM, right? Do not confuse between the LCM and the GCF. GCF is related is greatest common factor. The thing in GCF we're going to calculate is factors, right? But here with the LCM, what we are going to calculate, we're going to calculate the multiples, right? Least common multiples, right? So let's just start with the I'm going to write the definition of the LCM on the board. Then we'll see what is the multiples, right? So let's just write down the least common multiple is defined as the LCM. You can note down the definition, right? Is defined as the smallest multiple, right? That is the smallest multiple that two or more numbers have in common. Numbers have in common, right? So LCM means you have to find the smallest multiple that is common between two numbers, right? Now the question is, what is multiple? What do you know about the multiple? What is a multiple? Multiple is a number. Multiple is different from factor, right? Multiple and factors are inverse of each other. Multiple is the number. Multiple are the numbers you get when you multiply a certain number. When you multiply a certain number by an integer, right? So that is the definition of the multiple. What is multiple? Multiple are the numbers you get when you multiply a certain number by an integer, right? The product result of one number multiplied the other, right? That is the multiple. Let's just write down the examples of the multiple, right? Let's see what is the multiple, right? Okay. Integer. Okay. Let's just do examples. Let's see what is the multiple. Okay. So you have to write down the multiples of 3, right? Multiples of 3. The multiples of 3 are, just keep multiplying the numbers with 3. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15, and so on, right? These are all the multiples of 3. You are multiplying 3 with 1, 2, 3, and so on. So these are the multiples of 3. Let's just write down the multiples of 4. They are 4 times 1 is 4, 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20. In simple words, you can say the tables are the multiples of the number. For example, table of 2 is the multiples of 2. Table of 3 is the multiples of 3, right? Table of 4 is the multiples of 4. These are the multiples, right? Now let's just do an example to calculate the LCM of two numbers, right? Okay. Let's start with an example, that is Find the least common multiple of 4 and 5. Find the LCM of 4 and 5. You have to find the multiples of 4 and 5, right? Okay, so start writing the multiples of 4. First, we're going to write the multiples of 4 and then multiples of 5. So multiples of 4 means 4 times 1 is 4, 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, 4 times 6 is 24, and so on, right? Now you have to write the multiples of 5. They are 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 30, 5 times 4 40, 5 times 5 50, and so on. You have to find the least common number. 10 times 2 is 20. I forgot to write, right? Okay. Okay, you have to write down the smallest number that is common. You can see here you have 20 and here you have 20. That means the LCM of 4 and 5 is 20. Right? Let's just do another example. Okay, we have to write down the LCM of 12 and 18. Right? LCM of 12 and 18. So let's just start writing the multiples of 12 and 18, right? Okay, let's just see multiples of 12 and multiples of 18. Okay, 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, 12 times 3 is 36, 12 times 4 is 48, 12 times 5 is 60, and so on. Then you have 18 times 1 is 18, 18 times 2 is 36, 18 times 3 is 54, I think, and 18 times 4 is 72, I think. I'm not sure. Let me just confirm. 18 times, yes, 18 times 4 is 32 and 18 times 3 is 54. Yes, I'm right. Okay, you have to find the least common multiple. So the smallest common multiple is 36. So the least common multiple is 16. Sorry, 36. The smallest common multiple of least common multiple of 36 and of 12 and 18 is 36, right? Now let's just go to A plus, find examples from there and let's just do them. Okay, here I'm on the grade 7 math. The chapter we're working on is number theory. Let's just start with least common multiples. Let's start with the practice questions, right? Okay, what is the least common multiple of 6 and 12? Okay, let's just write down the multiples of 6 and then multiples of 12. You have to find the LCM of 6 and okay, let's just start with multiples of 6 and multiples of 12. 6 times 1 is 6, 2 is 12, 3 is 18, 4 is 24, 6 times 5 is 30, right? 12 times 1 is 12, 2 is 24, 12 times 3 is 36, 12 times 4 is 48, and so on. Okay, just look at the common numbers. 12 is common, 24 is also common, then 36 is common, and then so on. You have so many common numbers, but the least one, the smallest one is 12. So the least common multiple is 12, right? The correct option is 12. Okay. Okay, the correct option is 12. You can find the okay, the next one is what is the least common multiple of 11 and 6? 11 and 6. Okay. Okay. Let's just write down the multiples of 11 and multiples of 6. 11 times 1 is 11, 2 is 22, 3 is 33, 4 is 44, 5 is 55, and 66. Let's just write down the factors of 6. 6 times 1 is 6, 2 is 12, 3 is 18, 4 is 24, 6 times 5 is 30, 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 7 is 42, 4, 8 is 48, 9 is 54, 10 is 60, and 11 is 66. So because the least common multiple here is 66. How do you know? You can see 11 is the prime number, right? That means 11 is a prime number, right? Prime number, whenever you have one of the number is prime, that means they do not share any. You have to, if you have to calculate their LCM, simply just multiply them, right? So 11 times 6 is 66. So that would be 66, right? The correct option is 66. Okay, the least common multiple of 6 and 9. You can find the LCM from the options also. How do you find? That's just a trick. Just you are given two of the options, 18 and 9, right? If the option is divided by both the number, that means that is the correct option. You can see 18, right? 18 divided by 6. 18 is divisible by 6. Let's see, 18 is divisible by 6. 6 times 3 is 18, yes. Now let's see, 18 is divided by 9. 9 times 2 is 18, yes. So 18 is the number that is divisible by the both the numbers. That means 18 is the least common multiple of 6 and 9, right? So the correct option is 18. Okay, what is the least common multiple of 4 and 12, right? Okay, so you're given two of the options, 4 and 12, right? Let's see if 4 and 12, they both are divisible by 4. 4 divided by 4, 1, yes. Then 12 divided by 4. 4 times 3 is 12, yes. The 4 is the number that can divide both the numbers, right? That means the factor of the least common multiple of 4 and 12 is 4, right? The correct option is 4. 12. Okay. The next one is least common multiple of 6 and 7. So 7 is a prime number, right? Whenever one of the number is prime, what you have to do? You just have to multiply both the numbers. 7 times 6 is 42. So 42 is the least common multiple of 6 and 7, right? The correct option is 42. The correct option is 42. What is the least common multiple of 12 and 9? Okay, you have to calculate the least common multiple of 12 and 9. You can calculate LCM by writing the prime factors of both the numbers, right? Let's just write down the prime factors of 12. Prime factors of 12 are, they are 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12. For 9, they are 3 times 3. So the only common number is 3. That means the least common multiple is 3, right? So you have to write down the prime factors of both the numbers, and then you have to look for the least common number. Hold on. Okay. So not LCM is not 3. 3 is the common number, right? And the numbers that are not common are 2 times 2 times 3. Let's just multiply them. They all are the 3 times 2 is 6 and 6 times 6 is 36. The LCM of 12 and 9 is 36. Right? The correct option is 36. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So let's just move on to the next lesson. The next lesson is GCF and LCM uh, word problems, right? They are a bit tricky word problems. That's why I'm going to cover these word problems. So let's just see how do you. The question here is, let's just let me read the question, then I explain what you have to do. Mackie has 15 forks and 10 knives to place in silverware holders at the fast food restaurant where she works. She wants to distribute them equally with no fork or knife left. What is the greatest number of silverware holders Mackie can stock? So you have to find the greatest number, right? That means you have to calculate the greatest common. Whenever you are given to calculate greatest number, calculate GCF. Whenever you have to calculate the least number, calculate LCM, right? So you have to calculate the GCF of 10 and 5. So which is the correct option? 10 and 15. The correct option is 5 it is, right? The correct option is 5. Because 15 and 10, they both can be divisible by 5. The both can be completely divisible by 5. So that is 15 and 10. Ariel and Sadie are training for a marathon. Ariel runs 3 kilometers at a time, while Sadie runs prefers to run in blocks of 9 kilometers. At the end of the month, they realized that they have run same total number of kilometers. What is the smallest number of kilometers that each must have run? So you have to calculate the smallest number, right? Smallest number here means you have to calculate the LCM of 3 and 9, right? So LCM of 3 and 9 is, the correct option is 3 and 9. Let me just calculate LCM of 3 and 9. LCM of 3 and 9. Let's just write down the prime factors of 3 and 9. Prime factors of 3 are 3 times 1, and then prime factors of 9 are 3 times 3, right? So 3 is the common number, and then the other number are 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. So the LCM of 3 and 9 is 9. The correct option is 9, right? 9 kilometers it is. Okay, Rick wants to display 20 photos and 10 drawings he owns in a group. He own in groups, with each group having the same combination of photos and drawings and none left over. What is the greatest number of groups Rick can display? You have to find the GCF, right? You have to calculate the greatest number. So that means you have to calculate the GCF. So which is the correct option? Then the GCF is 20, it is, right? The greatest common factor is 20. Oh, sorry, you have to calculate the GCF and their GCF is 10, right? Sorry. Jasper Stationery sells cards in a pack of 9 and an envelopes in pack of 7. If Herschel want the same number of each, what is the minimum number of cards that he will have to buy? So which is the correct option? The minimum number you have to calculate that, right? That means you have to calculate LCM. So the LCM of 6 and LCM of 7 and 9 is very good. That would be 63. So the correct option is 63, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we're working on grade 7 math. Chapter we're working on is number theory. The lessons we have, they are very important lessons, right? You have to complete their practice questions as a homework. The lessons are GCF and greatest common factor and LCM and GCF and LCM word problems, right? So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we did today. So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, right? So if you have any question, you can contact me in the interactive section. That would be daily from 4 to 5 and from 9 to 10, right? So please ask question if you have any.